Dirtle Magic. Hello and welcome back. You can follow our post on Twitter and Facebook at DirtleMTG to stay up to date on our latest videos and other posts, and you can join a more robust discussion about Casual Commander at our blog, TheDiceBag.blog. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this content to help the channel and the blog grow. Another way you can support the channel, though, is through our affiliate links in the description below. If you're looking for single sealed product or gaming accessories to protect all of that glory, please consider clicking the links in the description. Now, grab some spells, it's time to dirtle. Hello, and welcome back. Today we'll be covering Anje, Maid of Dishonor. Our opponents are Gisa and Geralf, Obeka, Brute Chronologist, and Delina, Wild Mage. Unfortunately, we are going last for the game. Gisa and Geralf play a Reliquary Tower for their turn. Obeka plays an island, and Delina sees a mountain come into play. On my turn, I play a Blood Crypt tapped. The zombie siblings have an island come down. Obeka sees a mountain and follows with a Talisman of Dominance. Delina plays a mountain and suspends a Rousing Refrain and passes. I play a swamp and cycle the Canyon Sloth from my hand to draw a new card. It's Graven Cairns. Zombies unfortunately play nothing, not even a land, and pass the turn. Oof. Obeka brings another island into play and casts the Brute Chronologist. Delina sees a counter removed from the Rousing Refrain, then a mountain followed by a Sword of Hearth and Home. Our turn gives us a mountain. I play Graven Cairns and pass it here, waiting to get Anje down before any other vampires currently. Zombies again plays nothing and passes. On Obeka's turn, that player casts Isior, Wardwing Familiar, and follows it up with a Talisman of Indulgence. They also play a Lotus Field and use Obeka to end the turn to cancel its triggered ability. Delina's turn sees another time counter off Rousing Refrain. They then put a Spinerock Knoll into play and hide away. Sword of the Amis comes down afterward. Our turn sees a mountain, which I play, and then cast Anje. I get a blood token and pass. Gisa and Geralf play a Cloudstone Curio after a drowned Catacomb. Good to see them stay in the game. Obeka's turn sees Talisman of Creativity come down, finishing the available set in those colors. This is followed by Avarice Dragon, you know what, it's just Dragon. They move to attacks, and attack with Isior into Delina for 1. At the end of turn, the dragon triggers, and Obeka is used to get rid of the trigger. Delina's turn sees the last time counter removed from Rousing Refrain, casting it from exile. It then exiles itself to be suspended again. Delina hits the battlefield, Sword of the Amis gets equipped to the commander, and then so does the Sword of Hearth and Home. Lightning Greaves then gets cast and equipped as well. Mindstone then comes down, and Delina goes to attacks, attacking Obeka and getting a land to the battlefield tapped off the Sword of the Amis trigger. Damage is good against Obeka with no blocks, and they go down to 33 and up to 6 commander damage. Sword of Hearth and Home will trigger, blinking nothing but getting Delina another land, but this time into play untapped. This again main phase sees Tormenting Voice for Delina, and they pass. Our turn gives up Command Beacon. I play a swamp and then cast an overloaded Vandal Blast to get rid of all the artifacts except blood tokens. Moving to attacks, I then attack Obeka, who decides to take the damage. They go down to 29, and I pass. It's turn 6, and Gisa and Geralf cast a Demonic Tutor, possibly for another land. Urborg Tomb of Yawgmoth comes into play shortly after. They pass. Obeka's turn sees the Dragon trigger for some extra card draw. They then cast Blade of Selves, and I have a bad feeling. They equip it to the dragon, and attack, triggering the blade. Their opponents take 4 each, and Obeka keeps the dragons around with her Broken Time ability. To Delina's turn, and Rousing Refrain loses a counter. Their turn proper sees a Volakut Awakening to add some card selection to their day. That is followed by a Soul Ring, and then a Ruby Medallion. Delina attacks, and makes 1 copy of herself, both of which are into Obeka. Damage isn't blocked, and Obeka goes down to 23 and up to 9 commander. Our turn sees Viserys here, and I play it immediately. Anje triggers, giving us 1 more blood token. Delina responds by casting Electric Revelation to grab some new cards. Once Seer resolves, I also cast Vine Witch Coven for some potential recursion. Since Anje only triggers once each turn, I do not get another blood token. Going to attacks and seeing Obeka as a threat, I swing with Anje. Obeka doesn't assign any blockers, and they take 4, going down to 19, and I pass. Zombies cast Vengeful Dead on their turn, and they pass it. Obeka has 3 dragons drawing extra cards on their draw step. They play Riptide Laboratory and then cast Soul Ring and Izzet Signet. Dimir Infiltrator is then transmuted for a Sundial of the Infinite. They cast it. Moving to attacks, Obeka swings with only the dragon equipped with the Blade of Selves, giving 2 more dragons and 4 damage to each opponent. At the trigger for the dragon at end of combat, Obeka activates the sundial to keep the dragon tokens. Moving to Delina, Rousing Refrain has a counter removed, and they cast Unexpected Windfall for more card selection and some treasure. They then cast Sword of Feast and Famine. The sword is then equipped to Delina, followed by Swiftfoot Boots. On the attack, they make 2 tokens of Delina, and all their creatures swing into the zombie player. Vengeful Dead intercepts a token, trading with it, and the rest of the damage gets through, dropping Gisa and Geralf's life to 24. Vengeful Dead and the sword trigger as well. At the end of combat, Spinarch Null gets activated, and the hideaway card is Mirror Match, which comes into play. At the end of their turn, I sacrifice a blood token to loot a card, discarding a mountain. Our turn gives us Liquid Well Torque. I play Command Beacon, and then cast Vampire Nighthawk. Anje will give us a blood token. I'll then also cast a Tavern Scoundrel. I decide to attack Obeka with just Anje, and they respond by double blocking with dragon tokens. I respond by sacrificing a blood token to Anje to drain 2 from each opponent and gain 2. Obeka responds by activating their commander, and I choose not to end my turn. They then ask why I didn't save my commander. Combat happening, and Anje goes back to the command zone and 1 dragon token goes down. On Zombie's turn, they are quick to cast Damnation, and I respond by sacrificing my whole board to Viscera Seer. When I scry, I decide to keep Grave Titan on top each time, which I feel will be good for board recovery. Zombies then passes to Obeka. On their turn, Obeka casts their commander, and then Apprentice Necromancer, which I fear will return the dragon later on. They pass. Delina's turn sees Rousing Refrain return from exile and be cast. They then get 8 red mana. During their main phase, they cast their commander, Mirror Match will trigger, and they lose the flip, which doesn't matter so much with legendaries. Swiftfoot Boots gets equipped to Delina, followed by the sword. They go to attacks, creating 1 copy of Delina. They're charging into both Obeka and ourselves. We take 3 down to 30. Obeka takes 5 down to 11 and up to 14 commander damage. The sword triggers. Our turn gives us Grave Titan. I play the Mortuary Mire and return Vinewitch Coven to the top of our deck. I then cast the Titan. It goes into play, and we get 2 2/2 zombies. I pass. Moving to the zombie player, who's just having the worst time with it with lands, finally plays another land. They cast their commander Gisa and Geralf, and mill 4 cards when it enters the battlefield. They pass. Obeka moves to immediately sacrifice the apprentice and retrieves the dragon. It gains haste. The Blade of Selves is then equipped to the dragon. They then cast Ideals Unbound to draw 3 cards. The attack features a Draconic Charge, and that's another 4 damage to each of Obeka's opponents because of the blade. When they trigger at the end of combat, Obeka decides not to keep them around, which is surprising to me. Then I get my answer with Lord of Tressorhorn, which Obeka is then activated for. In response, I activate a blood token, and we get a Vinewitch Coven from the top of our deck. To Delina's turn with another counter removed from Refrain. They move straight to attacks otherwise, gaining 2 Delina tokens, and all of them are swinging into Obeka, who decides not to block and is knocked out of the game. The sword triggers. Our turn sees a mountain. I cast Anje from the command zone for 6, and move to attacks. I swing the Titan at Gisa and Geralf, and the 2 zombies at Delina, making 2 more zombies on the trigger. Zombies decides not to block, and they go down to 12, while Delina goes down to 20. I pass. To the zombie player, we see an increasing ambition to the stack. Cabal Coffers then makes an entrance, and I wonder if that's what they tutored for. They then pass it off. Another Delina turn, another counter removed from Rousing Refrain. They move straight to attacks again, and create 2 tokens of Delina, which all come at us. I block, but accidentally double block 1 token instead of blocking 2. We take 8 damage, and we have to discard a Vinewitch Coven, which hurts my recovery. In the second main, Seize the Day gets a cast, and Delina swings at us again for another attack. They create 1 additional token, and respond by sacrificing a blood token to gain some life and drain out opponents for 2. I block the token with a zombie, and take 5 more damage, down to 15, up to 10 commander. In the new second main, we see Seize the Day again, flashbacked from the graveyard, and things look dire. Delina, however, decides not to attack a 3rd time. On our turn, we draw Bedevil, which I immediately cast to destroy the Sword of Feast and Famine. I go to attacks and swing Anje at the zombie player, and the Titan and 2 zombies at Delina, creating 2 new zombies. There are no blocks or responses, and the zombie player goes down to 6 and Delina to 8. Gisa and Geralf tap Coffers for 6 mana on their turn, and cast Buried Alive. They put Diagraph Colossus, Shieldred the Whispering One, and Zombie Master into the graveyard. They then cast Diagraph Colossus and end the turn. Delina plays Rousing Refrain from exile, removing that last counter, adding a crescendo of 7 red mana to their mana pool. They tap 1 mountain for mana, and then cast Chaos Warp targeting the same mountain they tapped. Out of the deck comes Neheb, Dreadhorde Champion. Mirror Match will trigger, but no copies are created. Delina moves to attack against us, and gain a resounding 4 extra Neheb to batter us down with. I respond by sacrificing 3 zombie tokens with Anje's ability to gain 6 life and drain the table for 6, which knocks out the zombie player in the process, and we go to 21 life. I assign the remaining token to block Delina, and they trade in combat. The Nehebs all come through otherwise and leave us at 1 life while triggering each Neheb. With that amount of card selection, it would be a small miracle if we survived. If we untap, we win. Unfortunately, they cast Goblin Chain Whirler in the second main, and we take 1 damage to finish us off. Good game to our opponents. See you for the next video. Stay safe out there.